Well, again, good morning, everybody. So, seems like a lot of us are off to kind of a slower start this morning. I know I am. I'm sure, like most of you, we're all exhausted, but we're gonna press on, and we are gonna be. Again, last week was more of a writing week, so you guys did the DCS brief write, which the final draft again was due last night. So make sure that you guys, if you haven't submitted it, which I'm noticing a lot of people still have not submitted their brief write. And again, it's 10 to 12 sentences. So again, it wasn't like I was asking for 10 to 12 page papers. So again, I feel like that 10 to 12 sentences is something that we should be able to do. And really, if we're not doing it, there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing it. And I've repeatedly asked if people needed help with something, and I've had lots of non-responses. So the way I look at it is, if we haven't done it, it's just because we chose not to do it. It's not because we don't understand it. Because if you don't understand it, you should be asking me questions, and I'm not getting questions, so that tells me you should be understanding it. So again, if you are not asking questions and not turning it in and you don't understand it, then unfortunately there's not a whole lot I can do. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just trying to be realistic here. I'm trying to help everybody the best I can. I'm trying to give you guys a bunch of tools to be successful, like working together to find a quote, giving you No Fear Shakespeare if you're having a hard time understanding the language, going like as we read together, explaining what's going on, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be reading Acts 3, Scene 1, and we're going to basically be doing that and then working on our dialectical journal. And again, the journals are also meant to help you find quotes too, even before we get to the Padlets. So, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Is we're going to be reading through Acts 3, Scene 1, which is the scene. It's interesting because this is a scene where Caesar actually dies, but it's actually not the most famous scene. You would think that the moment Caesar dies is like, oh, this is a big event, but it's not. That actually comes in the next scene that we'll read. So, all right, there we go. So again, today we're going to be reading Act 3, Scene 1, and then you're going to be working on the dialectical journals afterwards. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to change my screen over. One second. Okay. All right. So again, where we left off was Brutus had joined the conspiracy. Decius had obviously, since that's what our brief right was about, had convinced Caesar to go to the Capitol using several rhetorical strategies. Then Artemidorus, he was that random character who had the letter, who basically listed off all the names of the conspirators who were planning on killing Caesar. So he's going to try to like get ahead of the conspirators, give them the letter so that way Caesar can read it and say like, oh crap, I'm about to be assassinated. And so that's where we're going to be starting off with. There's still walking to the Capitol. They're almost to the Capitol right now. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started.
This is a conspiracy! I am still the poet! I am still the poet!
Sorry about that. I was way further ahead. Let's try that again.
The Ides of March are come.
I, Caesar, but not gone.
Hail, Caesar! Read this schedule.
Trebonius doth desire you to read at your best leisure this his humble suit.
Oh, Caesar, read mine first. For mine's a suit that touches Caesar nearer. Read it, great Caesar.
What touches us ourselves shall be last, sir.
Delay not, Caesar. Read it instantly.
What, is the fellow mad?
Cyril, give place.
What urge you your petitions in us?
Okay, so again, just even in this first part, so the soothsayer is randomly walking along the crowd with Caesar, and Caesar's almost like kind of like mocking him. It's like basically the Ides of March are come, and here I am. And the soothsayer like brings up a good point. It's like, yes, they're here, but they're here, but not gone. So it's still the Ides of March, so it still could happen to you. And then Artemidorus is like, read the schedule. Now, is it really a schedule? No, it's not a schedule. It's just basically it's a paper that has the list of the conspirators, but he can't say that out loud or else he'll be figured out. So that's basically what's going on there.
Straight come to the capital. I wish your enterprise today may thrive.
What enterprise, Popilius?
Hold on.
Fare you well.
Sorry, somebody just showed up and it messed up which page I was on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
What said Popilius Lena?
He wished today our enterprise might thrive. I fear our purpose is discovered.
Look how he makes to Caesar. Mark him.
Casca, be sudden, for we fear prevention. Brutus, what shall be done? If this be known, Cassius or Caesar never shall turn back, for I will slay myself.
Cassius, be constant. Popilius Lena speaks not of our purposes, for look, he smiles, and Caesar doth not change.
Trebonius knows his time. For look you, Brutus, he draws Mark Antony out of the way. Where is Metellus Cimber? Let him go and presently prefer his suit to Caesar.
He is addressed.
Okay, so really quick, Publius is, again, just like Artemidorus, that's literally the only time we're going to ever hear of Publius. But the only thing that you need to know is that he told Cassius, oh, there we go. I wish your enterprise today may thrive. So again, what enterprise does Caesar have going on? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Or not Caesar, what enterprise does Casca and Brutus have? What's their enterprise? What's their mission today? Okay, I need to hear from everybody. So again, what's the mission? Yes, Chloe, you don't have to ask it. That is in fact true. Yeah, as most of you said, it's to kill Caesar. So Publius has figured out what's going on and said, I hope your enterprise today may thrive. So I hope you are successful. And Cassius is trying to play stupid, say, what enterprise? And then Publius just kind of walks off to Caesar. And if something bad was to happen, he would tell Caesar, and Caesar would obviously have a reaction like to kill Cassius and Brutus. But Brutus points out, Cassius, be constant. Publius Lena speaks not of our purposes, for look, he smiles and Caesar doth not change. All right, so let's go ahead and we are going to see they're like the conspirators have kind of like come up with a plan to like how they're going to get near Caesar. Because remember, the Senate, there's like 100 people, right? There's a ton of different senators from different regions of Rome. And so they have to figure out how are we going to get this group of like 10 to go around Caesar.
Press near and second him.
Casca, you are the first that rears your hand.
Are we all ready? What is now amiss that Caesar and his Senate must redress?
Most high, most mighty, and most puissant Caesar, Metellus Cimber throws before thy seat an humble heart.
I must prevent thee, Cimber. These couchings and these lowly courtesies might fire the blood of ordinary men and turn preordinance and first decree into the law of children. Be not fond to think that Caesar bears such rebel blood that will be thawed from the true quality with that which melteth fools. I mean sweet words, low crooked curtsies, and base spaniel fawning. Thy brother by decree is banished. If thou dost bend and pray and fawn for him, I spurn thee like a cur out of my way. No Caesar doth not wrong, nor without cause will he be satisfied.
Is there no voice more worthy than my own to sound more sweetly in great Caesar's ear for the repealing of my banished brother?
I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, Caesar, desiring thee that Publius Cimber may have an immediate freedom of repeal.
What, Brutus?
Pardon, Caesar, Caesar, pardon. As low as to thy foot doth Cassius fall to beg enfranchisement for Publius Cimber.
I could be well moved if I were as you.
Okay, so Metellus Cimber, one of the conspirators, has his brother Publius Cimber has been banished, and that like apparently like it wasn't actually happened. That wasn't like part of the plan, but they're using that as an excuse to gather around Caesar. Now maybe that helped cause them be why they're going to assassinate Caesar to begin with. Maybe that was the final straw that pushed them over the edge to kill Caesar. We are on page 54 right now. But anyway, so what they've done is they're like, okay, so Cassius, Casca, Metellus, Cassius, and Brutus are all gathering around Caesar. What Caesar thinks is that they're just asking him to unbanish Metellus's brother, but really they're gathering around him to kill him. So that's what they're doing right now. Is again, they're just like kind of getting in their killing stance.
If I could pray to move, prayers would move me. But I am constant as the northern star, of whose true fixed and resting quality there is no fellow in the firmament. The skies are painted with unnumbered sparks. They are all fire, and every one doth shine, but there's but one in all doth hold his place. So in the world, 'tis furnished well with men, and men are flesh and blood and apprehensive. Yet in the number I do know but one, that unassailable holds on his rank, unshaked of motion, and that I am he. Let me a little show it even in this, that I was constant Cimber should be banished, and constant to remain to keep him so.
Oh, Caesar!
And
Okay, so again, Caesar goes on this long rant about how he's constant, like the Northern Star, which, if you know even a little bit about stars, the North Star pretty much stays in the same spot, hence why it's called the North Star. So he's saying Caesar's comparing himself because he's so constant. He basically, you can't change his mind. You won't persuade him, even though just moments ago he was persuaded to go to the Capitol, even after he said he wasn't. First he was persuaded by his wife, and then he was persuaded by Decius. So obviously, we know he's not really constant, but he likes to be very arrogant and like put on like a big show in front of everybody. And so that's kind of like what he was doing. So now we're getting to the part where they're about to kill him. And again, maybe it would have changed if he had said yes. Who knows? Maybe if he would have said, yes, I will let Publius stay. Maybe they changed their mind, but maybe they knew that he wouldn't, and that's why they were just going to do it anyways.
whence wilt thou lift up Olympus?
Great Caesar!
Doth not Brutus bootless kneel?
Weak hands for me!
Et tu, Brute. Then fall, Caesar.
Okay, So I had said how earlier, like one of the more famous lines in the play was about the whole cowards die many deaths, but the brave or the valiant never taste of death but once. This is literally the most famous line in the entire play. Et tu, Brute, then fall Caesar. So et tu, Brute is Latin for and you, Brutus. So it's basically saying, because again, Brutus, aside from Antony, Brutus was Caesar's closest friend. And so, I mean, obviously the betrayal, his death is, literally painful, but what's more painful is that he died at the hand of a friend, And so, and he's basically saying, and you too, Brutus, then if that's the case, if you're also part of this conspiracy, then I will fall. Then I will let myself die, essentially. So, yeah. So if you ever hear the words "et tu, Brute," obviously it means that somebody was betrayed, that there was revenge. So it's definitely one of those lines that gets repeated or referred to quite a bit in popular culture. So again, just a good
Liberty, freedom. Tyranny is dead! And hence, proclaim, ride about the streets, sound to the cockpits and cry out, liberty, freedom, and enfranchisement!
People and senators, be not affrighted. Fly not, stand still. Ambition's debt is paid.
Go to the pulpit, Brutus!
And Cassius too. Where's Publius?
Here, quite confounded with this mutiny.
Stand fast together, lest some friend of Caesar's should chance.
Talk not of standing. Publius, good cheer. There is no harm intended to your person nor to no Roman else. So tell them, Publius.
And leave us, Publius, lest that the people rushing on us should do your age some mischief.
Do so, and let no man abide this deed, but we the doers.
Where is Antony?
Fled to his house amazed. Men, wives, and children stare, cry out, and run as it were doomsday.
Fates, we will know your pleasures. That we shall die, we know. 'Tis but the time and drawing days out that men stand upon.
Why? He that cuts off.
All right. So again, going back to it, Publius is basically like, what's going on? Remember, they were actually going to get Publius to join the conspiracy earlier in Act 2 when they were talking about in Brutus's yard, who else should join our conspiracy to kill him? And one of them had mentioned Publius, but then they're like, nah, he's too old. He doesn't have that young UC fire. And even now they kind of refer to his old age when Cassius says, let Publius get out of here or else people should do your age some mischief. Basically you're very old and fragile, so something bad could happen to you. So why don't you go home before you get hurt? And Antony has already gone home. People, again, this has just happened, but it's spread like wildfire. Everybody already knows that Caesar's dead. And Brutus, again, ever the noble Brutus, if you consider him to be noble, says it, well, fate will know your pleasure. We will know what the fates have decided. Either we are going to, we'll continue to live, or we will die because of our actions. And we will just kind of face the consequence, whatever comes to us.
Off 20 years of life, cuts off so many years of fearing death.
Grant that, and then is death a benefit? So are we Caesar's friends that have abridged his time of fearing death. Stoop, Romans, stoop, and let us bathe our hands in Caesar's blood up to the elbows, and besmear our swords. Then walk we forth even to the marketplace, and waving our red weapons o'er our heads, let's all cry peace, freedom, and liberty.
Stoop then.
Okay, so he's basically saying, okay, everybody, kneel down. Let's cover our arms, our swords in Caesar's blood. Why do you guys think he's doing that? And if you want to unmute, you can. If you want to type it out in the chat, you can. Either way. Why do you think that Brutus is saying to have everybody smear his blood all over their arms up to their elbows on their swords and all that good stuff, and then go out into the crowd. Okay. If they really wanted to, they could just like walk off into a crowd and just like, I don't know who killed either, I don't know who's responsible for it. Okay. I would say about some of you are really close, and then a lot of you are pretty much spot on. So I see some beat. So one of the responses was, so that people could see that they were the ones who did something good for their empire, or that they were being honor. A lot of you said that they were just showing that they were being honorable and that they weren't hiding their actions. So that's, again, yeah, that's pretty much it. They're not wanting. That's been Brutus's saying, because again, Cassius before was like, let's make an oath. Let's kind of. I see he wanted to be more secretive about it, whereas Brutus is like, no, if we're gonna kill Caesar, and we believe that this is the right thing to do, we shouldn't hide our actions. We shouldn't hide our identities. We should, we will take our consequences, whatever they are. We will show the public that we were the ones who ended his power, his claim to power. And so that, that's pretty much what he's saying. And what does it remind you of, though? Like them, putting their hands in their blood. What does that remind you of from Act 2? Right. Yeah. So like Josh was saying, it reminds you of the dream. So Calpurnia's dream, where there was exactly, yeah, Caesar's wife's dream. So the fountain of blood, and then the lusty Romans bathing their hands in the blood of Caesar. So obviously the dream has come to fruition. So we see now that her dream was actually a prediction of what was a foreshadowing what was going to happen, which, I mean, kind of seems obvious at this point. But I mean, again, the fact that they literally are bathing their hands in his blood is kind of like, you could either view it as honorable, or you could view it as kind of like bloodthirsty in a way. So, all right, let's go ahead and keep going.
And wash. How many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted over in states unborn and accents yet unknown?
How many times shall Caesar bleed in sport, that now on Pompey's basis lies along, no worthier than the dust?
So oft as that shall be, so often shall the knot of us be called the men that gave their country liberty.
What? Shall we forth?
Aye, every man away. Brutus shall lead, and we will grace his heels with the most boldest and best hearts of Rome.
Okay, so again, there was a breaking the fourth wall moment again, where Cassius is saying like, how many ages hence shall our lofty scene be acted over? And when you see like the O apostrophe ER, that just means over. In states unborn and accents yet unknown, which is really in a lot of ways kind of crazy that Shakespeare like realized the like impact that his plays, or specifically this play too, would have on people. So it's like, how many times will this very scene be acted in a play, basically? So in countries and states unborn, so in countries that have not even, so like for example, America for one, so America obviously wasn't around during the 1500s, so he's basically in what countries in different accents, this will be performed. And Brutus says, how many times shall Caesar bleed in sport? So like for the pleasure of the audience. How many times will Caesar have to die? Which, I mean, if you think of like how many productions that there have probably been from the late 1500s to now, obviously Caesar has probably died hundreds and hundreds of times. So again, that's just kind of like breaking the fourth wall. It's like being aware of the importance of the scene of this play. So, and then Cassius is saying, Brutus shall lead. He's going to be the one talking to the people first. Obviously, that's why they recruited him, because he is the most well-liked of the conspiracy in the public eye.
Who comes here? A friend of Antony's.
Thus, Brutus, did my master bid me kneel. Thus did Mark Antony bid me fall down. And being prostrate, thus he bade me say, Brutus is noble, wise, valiant, and honest. Caesar was mighty, bold, royal, and loving. Say I love Brutus, and I honor him. Say I feared Caesar, honored him, and loved him. If Brutus will vouchsafe that Antony may safely come to him and be resolved how Caesar hath deserved to lie in death, Mark Antony shall not love Caesar dead so well as Brutus living, but will follow the fortunes and affairs of noble Brutus, thorough the hazards of this untrod state with all true faith. So says my master Antony.
Thy master is a wise and valiant Roman. I never thought him worse. Tell him, so please him come unto this place, he shall be satisfied, and by my honour depart untouched.
I'll fetch him presently.
I know that we shall have him well to friend.
I wish we may.
Okay, so Antony's smart. So biggest takeaway from this part right now, Antony's smart. He knows, because again, Cassius and Decius are like, let's kill Antony, you know? He's probably going to cause some trouble after we kill Caesar, so let's take him out too, just so that way we tie up any loose ends. And Brutus is like, no, we don't want to be murderers. We only want to kill the one person that we have an issue with. And so Antony sends his servant, which is kind of jacked up in a way because, you know, they could just kill his servant, you know. That's not super brave, you know. He's like, you go. If they kill you, I'll know not to come. But so Antony is going to come, and he's basically saying like, oh, I love, you know, Brutus is a noble Roman. I respect him. I just want to come find out why you decided to kill Caesar. And, I will love you as a friend, more so you alive than I do Caesar in death. And so again, obviously, we probably shouldn't believe that Antony really is okay with Caesar's death. And we'll see that play out in the next scene. But he's going to come talk to the conspirators and kind of like look him in the eye and kind of like size him up.
But yet have I a mind that fears him much, and my misgiving still falls shrewdly to the purpose.
But here comes Antony. Welcome, Mark Antony.
O mighty Caesar, dost thou lie so low? Are all thy conquests, glorious triumphs, spoils, shrunk to this little measure? Fare thee well. I know not, gentlemen, what you intend. Who else must be let blood? Who else is rank? If I myself, there is no hour so fit as Caesar's death hour, nor no instrument of half that worth as those your swords, made rich with the most noble blood of all this world. I do beseech ye, if you bear me hard, now, whilst your purple hands do reek and smoke, fulfill your pleasure. Live 1,000 years, I shall not find myself so apt to die. No place will please me so, no mean of death, as here by Caesar and by you cut off, the choice and master spirits of this age.
Oh, Antony, beg not your death of us, though now we must appear bloody and cruel, as by our hands and this our present act you see we do. Yet see you but our hands and this the bleeding business they have done. Our hearts you see not, they are pitiful. and pity to the general wrong of Rome. As fire drives out fire, so pity have done this deed on Caesar. For your part, to you our swords have leaden points, Mark Antony, our arms in strength of amity, and our hearts of brother's temper, to receive you in with all kind love, good thoughts, and reverence.
Your voice shall be as strong as any man's in the disposing of new dignities.
Only be patient till we have appeased the multitude beside themselves with fear, and then we will deliver you the cause why I, that did love Caesar when I struck him, have thus proceeded.
I doubt not of your wisdom. Let each man render me his bloody hand. First, Marcus Brutus will I shake with you. Next, Caius Cassius, do I take your hand. Now, Decius Brutus, yours. Now yours, Metellus. Yours, Cinna. And my valiant Casca, yours. Though last, not least in love, yours, good Trebonius. Gentlemen, all. Alas, what shall I say? My credit now stands on such slippery ground that one of two bad ways you must conceit me, either a coward or a flatterer. That I did love thee, Caesar. Oh, 'tis true. If then thy spirit look upon us now, shall it not grieve thee dearer than thy death to see thy Antony making his peace, shaking the bloody fingers of thy foes, most noble, in the presence of thy corse? Had I as many eyes as thou hast wounds, weeping as fast as they stream forth thy blood, it would become me better than to close in terms of friendship with thine enemies. Pardon me, Julius. Here wast thou bade, brave heart. Here didst thou fall, and here thy hunters stand, signed in thy spoil and crimsoned in thy lethe. O world, thou wast the forest to this heart, and this indeed, O world, the heart of thee. How like a deer strucken by many princes dost thou here lie.
Mark Antony.
Pardon me, Caius Cassius. The enemies of Caesar shall say this, then in a friend it is cold modesty.
I blame you not for praise.
Sorry about that. Didn't mean to let it expand. There we go. Okay, so you can kind of see in Antony's long little speech there, he kind of goes on a rant. So first he shakes the bloody hand of each of the conspirators. Again, kind of as a way of like, the way that the conspirators view it is like, oh, he's just shaking our hands to show that there's no hard feelings. But really he's doing it to kind of, it's almost like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. You're cool. No, not really. He's actually going to kill you too. But anyways, so he's basically going through the whole motion of saying like, cause he knows he can't kill them right now. He does. It's 1 against 6 or 7 right now. But you could see towards the end, he kind of like goes on this rant and it's just like, he starts getting more aggressive the way he talks. And the actor does a really good job, the voice actor, of kind of capturing that, talking about like how if only his eyes had, he had as many eyes as he had stab wounds, he would be able to, cry enough to show how much he was upset. He was basically saying, referred to the conspirators as hunters and him like Caesar was the prey. So again, just kind of going into like, he starts getting more like aggressive and he could show that he's not happy with the conspirators. And that's why Cassius is like, Mark Antony? And Antony catches himself and says, oh, pardon me. Everything's fine. I'm not going to get revenge. All right, so let's go ahead. Keep it up.
Caesar, so, but what compact mean you to have with us? Will you be pricked in number of our friends, or shall we on and not depend on you?
Therefore I took your hands, but was indeed swayed from the point by looking down on Caesar. Friends, am I with you all and love you all, upon this hope that you shall give me reasons why and wherein Caesar was dangerous.
Or else were this a savage spectacle. Our reasons are so full of good regard that were you Antony the son of Caesar, You should be satisfied.
That's all I seek. And am, moreover, suitor, that I may produce his body to the marketplace, and in the pulpit, as becomes a friend, speak in the order of his funeral.
You shall, Mark Antony.
Brutus, a word with you. You know not what you do. Do not consent that Antony speak in his funeral. Know you how much the people may be moved by that which he will utter?
By your pardon, I will myself into the pulpit first and show the reason of our Caesar's death. What Antony shall speak, I will protest he speaks by leave and by permission, and that we are contented Caesar shall have all true rites and lawful ceremonies. It shall advantage more than do us wrong.
I know not what may fall. I like it not.
Mark Antony, here take you Caesar's body. You shall not in your funeral speech blame us, but speak all good you can devise of Caesar, and say you do it by our permission. Else shall you not have any hand at all about his funeral. And you shall speak in the same pulpit whereto I am going, after my speech is ended.
Be it so. I do desire no more.
Prepare the body then, and follow us.
Okay. So again, Antony is very crafty. He's asking the conspirators if he could, at Caesar's funeral, if he could speak to the people and just, speak only good of Caesar. And Cassius again knows that this is a bad idea and tells Brutus, it's like, I don't like this. This is not a good idea. He's going to get the crowd all riled up and they're going to turn on us. And Brutus is like, don't worry, I'm going to talk first. And then after I'm done talking, I will tell the crowd that Antony is talking with our permission, that we're cool with him, that we have no problems with Antony, that we told him that he could speak at the funeral. And Brutus tells Antony, you're not allowed to blame us. You're not allowed to speak any ill will towards us, but you are only supposed to talk about good things about Caesar and his funeral. And he will have a normal funeral. Even though we killed him, we want him to be respected. And then now everybody is left, and we're going to see Antony's true thoughts.
Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers. Thou art the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hands that shed this costly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which like dumb mouths do ope their ruby lips to bake the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light upon the limbs of men. Domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar, that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war, all pity choked with custom of fell deeds. And Caesar's spirit, ranging for revenge, with Ate by his side come hot from hell, shall in these confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc, and let slip the dogs of war, that this foul deed shall smell above the earth with carrion men groaning for burial. You serve Octavius Caesar, do you not?
I do, Mark Antony.
Caesar did right for him to come to Rome.
He did receive his letters and is coming, and bid me say to you by word of mouth. Oh, Caesar.
My heart is big. Get thee apart and weep. Passion, I see, is catching. For mine eyes, seeing those beads of sorrow stand in thine, began to water. Is thy master coming?
He lies tonight within 7 leagues of Rome.
Post back with speed and tell him what hath chanced. Here is a mourning Rome, a dangerous Rome, no Rome of safety for Octavius, yet hie hence and tell him so. Yet stay a while. Thou shalt not back till I have borne this corse into the marketplace. There shall I try, in my oration, how the people take the cruel issue of these bloody men. According to the which thou shalt discourse to young Octavius of the state of things. Lend me your hand.
Okay, so that was Act 3, Scene 1. So that was Caesar's death. Kind of funny that his death happened so quick. If you're looking at the audio time, it happened, that scene was about 16 minutes long, and it happened in the first 6 minutes of the scene. So again, really this play, yeah, it's about his death, but it's more about what happens after his death. So that's what the rest of the play about is, like the aftermath of killing him. So yes, he had a lot of power. Yes, some people agreed with him, some people didn't, but this is what happens when you overthrow a monarchy. This is what happens when you overthrow leadership. That there's, in civil war, what happens from it. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing real quick that, and then I'm going to go back to our slides. There it goes. Okay, so Act 3, Scene 1, Dialectical Journal. So the journal is about, again, each page gets a quote. So it was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It was 14 pages. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys decide. Here's the thing. I know like it throws people off because I've said when I've put you in groups, people are saying, oh, the group's not doing anything. Well, if the group's not doing anything, again, this is normally an assignment that I assign individually anyways. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of a helping hand. If you don't get a helping hand from your group, unfortunately, it's still technically an independent assignment. I'm just trying to give you guys the option to work in groups. So here is your option. You could work in the same groups that you were in before, and that way you don't have to share your doc with new people or anything. Or I could put you in new groups, either way. So I'll let you guys kind of decide in the chat what you would prefer. New groups or same groups? All right. So most people are saying the same groups. So again, if I could have you guys, just like we've done before, if I could have you rename yourselves with the numbers that you've used before, 1, 2, or 3 before your name. So the number should come first, then your name. That way I could start putting you guys in the breakout rooms. No, Alexander before your name. So that way the 1 comes first. Okay, thank you, Alexander, Josh, and Desi. I need everybody else to be putting the numbers before your names as well. Well, look at the people up at the top. Look in the participants. If you recognize people, so like Armando, I know you were with Alexander, so you're one. So if you look at the people in the participants and you recognize the people you're working with, that should give you like kind of like the reminder about which number you were. Okay, everybody needs to be putting the number in front of their name. Joanna, what number were you? Miguel says he was in your group. Okay, so those of you who can't remember, I'm just going to put you into, okay. So Joanna, put a 2 in front of your name, and then Miguel, that would mean that you're a 2 also. So Miguel and Joanna, put 2s in front of your names when you rename yourself. And then for those of you who don't have it, again, I'm just going to put you in groups. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and open up the rooms, and you guys should be good to go.